Welcome back to Reading Bear. Today, we will take a look at some new entitled parent stories. And if you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comments. Let's go!
The first one is titled, Dad thinks he's entitled to tell you when to stop eating. My dad is severe control issues around food. He must always eat more or have a bigger portion than everyone else. Sometimes he takes smaller portions to be self-righteous but then goes and eats a second meal course that no one else is allowed to eat. He also tried to say when you should stop eating, which always has to be before him even if he's already eaten and you haven't. There is nothing worse than when you've skipped lunch and you've found out that dad had a big afternoon snack because that means dinner is going to suck ass. His controlling behavior has given me food issues where I hoard food and binge because I'm scared he's going to take my food away. I'm also overweight, fat. I've recently moved out and one of the big perks is I have a healthier relationship with food. I binge less and eat less in general. But I'm mostly not consumed by thoughts of food 24/7 like I used to be. This Christmas was actually the first Christmas I didn't binge chocolate before and after dinner. I ate reasonable amounts but it's still Christmas. Everyone except Dad was telling me how they think I've lost weight. Yay! I left feeling good about myself. Enter my dad. He called at my home today to fix my sink. As he was leaving, he sat me down and went through all of the food I ate at Christmas and told me how much less of each item I should have ate. I tell him to stop as him controlling my food will trigger me for a binging episode. He continues. I explain again. He tells me binging is only hurting me. I tell him I know but he needs to stop. I also mention how ducking creepy it is for him to watch me eat and count what I eat during Christmas. He tells me that he's right as my father and any time we have meals together he's going to be watching and counting. Other things he has done are look through my trash to see what I'm eating in my own home that he does not live in. Question what I've ate every day. Offered to order my groceries online for me so I don't have to go to shops during COVID. He then edited my shopping list to meet his standards. However, I am slowly gaining more control over food in my life and I feel so free. Edit, thanks guys, I was just ranting but don't worry, I know this behavior is not normal and could be in the abuse column. I'm setting boundaries and going low contact but I'm not ready to go no contact. Edit 2, I'm so unbelievably overwhelmed and thankful for all your comments, awards and good wishes. I just posted this as, isn't he so ridiculous, post. While I know this behavior is abusive, he's still a good dad in other ways and he's pretty ducked up from his own childhood. I'm aware that at some point I may have to go no contact and that will be an extremely painful process. I'm currently following the timeline of a friend in a similar situation. Going low contact first is what I need to do. I understand why you guys are downvoting some of my comments about how he's my dad and I don't want to go no contact. But please understand that I'm just not ready yet. I'm not going to go into all the reason but a big one is my mum. Yes, she should have done a better job of protecting me. But she's a victim here too and she's stuck. She won't leave him because she made vows before God. Mum has a major heart operation coming up and I don't want to add stress to her to risk her not coming through it. After the operation it will be a different story. I also do genuinely love my dad. Definitely have some Stockholm syndrome. Another reason is that dad has taken so much from me and damaged me in ways that I may not be fully aware of. If I go no contact, I'm going to lose so many other things that are so important to me. I'm not going to give him that power. I'm not going to let him play the victim of an ungrateful child. When dad does or says these things now it has no effect on me. Because I'm out and I know it's ridiculous. I'm no longer being brainwashed into thinking it's normal. He genuinely has no power here anymore. By going no contact I'll be giving him some power. But I'm also so scared of being alone. I am religious and, in the past, I've definitely had times where making a big move felt wrong and times where I've felt that nudge telling me to jump ship. Following that nudge has never led me wrong. I'm feeling that nudge about low contact and therapy, yay therapy again, I'm pretty sure I've an eating disorder fun. I'm not feeling that nudge about no contact yet, but I feel that it's coming. The next one is titled, My Cousin Sued Her Own Sister. My great-grandaunt died of COVID in the beginning of 2020. It's been a huge blow for the entire family, especially her 2 daughters. The drama between them came to a head when her will was read out. She left both of her daughters 1.5 acres each of land that she owned out in Louisiana, but she left her house to her oldest daughter. That house is a family staple. It was the house my great-grandaunt lived in when she moved from Louisiana to Washington to be with someone she loved. It was where celebrated Christmas Eve and Thanksgiving. It made sense that the oldest daughter got the house since she was already living there to begin with. Not to mention, the younger daughter already had a house. One where she just renovated the basement and put a brand new deck in the front. She didn't need the house at all. But my cousin didn't see it that way. So, she felt the need to sue her older sister for the rights to the house. She even got her daughter and her niece to turn against her own sister. Her reasons for wanting the house are pretty selfish in my opinion. Her main take for wanting the house was so that she could rent it out to other people. Not even a week before my great-grandaunt died. She said to her face that making money off the house was going to be her plan. Everyone in my family was so pissed to the point where they all announced that they weren't coming to her wedding. And the ones that were coming would be sitting on the groom's side. Her fiancé was actually a nice guy. You may think that might be a little harsh, but my cousin honestly deserved it. For someone to say that they would claim their mother's house when she dies to her face is nasty. Because of all the backlash she was getting, she ended up dropping the lawsuit and apologizing to her sister. On top of that, the wedding was cancelled. I could talk about this for hours, because this situation goes in deeper and deeper. I tried to keep it as brief as possible. I just hope my family gets better after all that has happened. The next one is titled, Demands My Skills for Free. So, I got a bobbin lace starter kit and extra bobbins for Christmas. My grandmother made bobbin lace and I wanted to try too. So, I spent 5 hours making a little bookmark. Now bobbin lace is becoming a lost art. Less people are making it and fewer are wanting to learn, so it's also a valued artisan craft. I should have listened to my gut. I showed a picture of the lace to a coworker who also crafts. They knit, but they would appreciate the art. The picture shows that it's clearly a piece of beginner's work. Oh, cool, so you can make me one now, too, right? Not really. I'm doing this just to learn and make some stuff for myself. I'll most likely never take commission for lace. It took me 5 hours to do this. The bookmark was 4 inches long. But you can just make me the same one. Surely you won't miss one piece of lace. I grit my teeth, mildly annoyed. People tended to push for my other craft too. No, and besides, I doubt you want to pay my hourly rate for custom crafting. I charge 10 per hours for crafts larger than gloves or scarves. So, sewing, quilting, knitting, and crocheting. Tatting and baking is 10 an hour, no exceptions unless I'm doing it for fun or my immediate family. Wait, pay you? Why would I pay you for a tiny piece of lace? Because it takes hours to make, so I charge for work I have to do versus work I want to do. Well, you'll never sell your lace that way. That's the point. She huffed as I walked off. I was more than a little annoyed that yet another person wants my skills for free. The next one is titled, A Customer Followed Me to My Car accusing me of stealing my UN-bagged groceries. I'm in Aldi after a long day of numerous events, one being working overnight and essentially having been awake for more than 24 hours, and I'm filling up a cart with needed items for the house. I am at the register and realize that the bag or tortilla chips I grabbed is primarily smashed. I talk to the cashier about him scanning that bag and then allowing me to head back into the very small aisle section of the store to get a lesser crunch bag. He agrees. I pay for my groceries and my daughter immediately takes my receipt. Before I head back into the aisle section of the store, I ask him if I need to confirm with him that I got the bag before heading out of the store. And he says no, it will be fine. I grab my lesser crunch bag of chips. I make my way across the front end and through an empty register with my cart full of groceries and my 2 young children. I do not bother the cashier I had, nor do I bother the other one at another register. I was told it was fine to just leave. So, I just left. I'm outside of the store and the wind is picking up pretty good. There's a storm coming. It's about 3 o'clock and it's dark out and the parking lot lights are on. This is gonna be a wicked downpour. I get my kids and my shopping cart to my car. I put my kids in first and then start putting my groceries into the reusable bags that I had left in my car. For those not familiar with Aldi, they charge you for bags, or you can bring your own or walk out with no bags or use boxes. It's all up to you. I'm finishing up and a woman, a customer, pops up out of what seems like nowhere. I will gladly help you pay for those groceries that you just put in your car, but you need to come back inside with me right now. They are going to press charges. I'm trying to help you. They are reviewing the camera footage. They are calling the police. They know you stole those groceries. She goes on saying stuff of this nature for a few minutes, and I'm completely shocked at what's coming out of her mouth. I'm floored. I did what? So, I say to her that I paid for my groceries, and she insists that she watched me walk through an empty register with my full cart and walked out of the store. And well, that's because, at that moment that she tuned into my shopping trip. I did just what she said. I tell her again that I paid for my groceries, and she asks me for my receipt, which I cannot produce because I assumed my daughter must have let it go on accident when the major gusts started and the wind took it along with her mask that she had been wearing. Yes, I feel awful for littering a mask via the gusting wind. She will not stop accusing me long enough for me to get more than "the guy with the spider tattoo" or "I already paid for them" out of my mouth. I finally snap at her and say if you could be quiet for just a few minutes. I could explain. She tells me that I don't need to explain. She saw me and they are going to press charges and she's just trying to help me. I'm getting angry, and my umbrella that I had taken out to use to return my shopping cart to the store started malfunctioning. I don't know if she thought I was waving it at her. But she starts saying, "Okay, I believe you. I will go inside and tell them you didn't steal them. You can leave." I'm furious at this point. And drenched. And also, really concerned that the police actually were called, so I get in my car and drive me and my kids to a parking spot closer to the front of the store. I take my children out of their seats and carry them both into the store during the downpour to confirm with the cashier that he remembered me and that he remembered the chip agreement. He said very loudly, "Yes." To which I responded, "This lady, she made it back inside right after me, said that you guys were watching the camera and think I stole them. I was just checking that you remember me." The customer then starts to say, "I didn't say." And then her voice trails off, or I block her out, I don't know which. I start towards the exit, for the second time. My daughter says to me, "Mommy, you got me all wet, why?" My response, "Because sometimes people just can't mind their own business." Update, I found my receipt during my ride home. My daughter had put it in her little purse she had had with her in the grocery store before we had walked outside in the wind. The next one is titled, "You Have to Have My Item." It's Christmas. I was messaged and asked to post this here, so here it is. I had gone out to see my psychologist on Monday and had a great session. On my way back home, I decided to wander the CBD for a bit. I find it fun, and we have virtually zero risks of the virus here, so I can be safe while doing it, too. I was wandering through the store we will call Bullseye that employs people with red shirts and was coming up near the register when I heard the sound of a feminine voice starting to rise. Me being the nosy girl I am, I hung around to listen to the drama. K, Karen P, poor worker M, manager S, security guard K, but you have to have it in stock. Your website says that you do. P, the website isn't always accurate. It's better to call the store. K, but I need item X, where else can I get it? P, you could probably get it at another store? K, I don't want to go to another store. The manager hears this and walks over. M, hi. Can I help you? K, turns to M, I need item X, but she gestures at P, says you don't have stock. M, unfortunately, it's a very popular item and we sold out quite quickly. K, well, where else can I get one? M, you might be able to find one at another store. K, I won't go to another store, I want it at this store. M, we could order it in for you. K, how long will that take? M, right now, about 2 weeks. K, that's not going to work. I need this damn item for my kids for Christmas. M, please keep your voice to reasonable levels. K, F *** KU. I'll yell if I want to. You're being stupid. The security guard was already en route but hurried over with this. S, I'm rescinding your right to shop here. Please leave the store. K, no, I want my item. Leave, now. Karen goes quiet for a moment and then spins on her heel and storms away quickly. K, looking back, I'm going to call corporate. I know a high-up manager there. I swear to God. Karen didn't see that the door was slow opening and promptly walked into it. Multiple people started to laugh at this point, including the security guard. P was hiding her face. M was going through a titanic struggle to keep composure. Karen made the decision then to turn around and start swearing at the people who were laughing. K, shut up. All of you. I'm going to sue this store. You're all going to be jobless by Christmas Day. She turns to walk out the door, not realizing that by this point she was behind the sensor range and walked into the closed door. She lets out a scream of rage and starts pounding on the door. No one could hold back this time. Seeing someone storm into a closed door twice in a row was beyond hilarious. Everyone who was watching was howling with laughter. K, open. Open. You damn cow. The security guard walks forward and waves to the sensor, making the door open. Karen lets out another scream and storms out. The next one is titled, My Narcissistic Mum Claims I Ruined Her Christmas Because I Called Her Out on Not Wearing a Mask and Now She's Trying to Steal a Cat from a Stranger's Children. I've only been lucid to the fact that my mum is a narcissist and manipulator for a few months now because she always controlled what I could think or say my whole childhood. When I started dating my BF, I moved out from her house and slowly started to see from an outside perspective her true colors. This Christmas just blew me away and I've finally ran out of sympathy for her. Now that I feel like I can finally think for myself, I haven't been holding my opinions back from her very much anymore, which is driving her crazy and we get into lots of arguments over it. She's got a weird obsession with having the perfect Christmas and demanding everything meets her crazy standards, and if they don't, she finds someone to point a finger at and say, "You ruined my Christmas." Last year my BF and I ruined her Christmas because we were too broke to afford nearly any gifts at all for people because we'd just moved and had just started working new jobs. She's upper middle class and is super out of touch with what it's like to be short a couple $100 for rent coming up and wouldn't listen to any kind of reasoning. This year I ruined her Christmas by speaking my mind. She and I had gone to Walmart a few days ago and there were lots of people with their masks pulled down under their noses. On Christmas Eve when my mum came and picked me up, she started crap talking all the people at Walmart with their masks down, but while we had been there in the checkout, she had pulled her mask down under her nose, and right behind an older woman with an oxygen tank no less. I told my mum she can't talk crap because she had done that too, and she told me I need to be quiet and I'm not allowed to talk to her that way. I'm 21 by the way. She started arguing with me and said she was dying and needed to which I said, what if all those other people were dying as well? She said, stop. I can't do this entire weekend, you can't be argumentative with me. I said if she can't do it the whole weekend, she should just take me home. I'd gotten out of the car at that point because I needed to go to the print shop and planned to walk home anyway. While I was printing, I got this text, transcribed, you owe me an apology. You were pushy and argumentative from the minute you got in the car and then speaking to me the way you did? No, ma'am. That is not appropriate. There is a huge difference between me taking my nose out of my mask for 2 minutes when standing just with you, more than 10 feet away from any other people, and the multitude of people shopping shoulder to shoulder with their noses hanging out. Regardless of any of that, however, the way you spoke to me was rude and disrespectful and not acceptable. If you plan to treat me, or anyone else that way tonight and tomorrow, then I'll take you up on your offer to just stay home. I've gone to a tremendous amount of effort and expense to make this time special for us only to find myself sobbing and wishing I could just go to bed and not see anyone tonight. If you aren't ready to apologize and adjust your attitude, then I can just take you home and be done with it. I'm very upset and disappointed. I've been looking forward to this day for a long time. Now it's on the brink of being ruined. When I finally got to my mum's house, I'd been planning on not apologizing because I don't see a single reason why I should, but she never brought it up and neither did I. She instead gave me the silent treatment all night long, and any time I would try to talk to her she just wouldn't respond, or she gave me very short, cold responses. That was okay though, I had a couple friends over, so I decided to enjoy my night and let her throw a temper tantrum. I think one of the craziest things my mum is trying to do though is steal a cat from 4 children she doesn't even know because she loves the cat. Simba, his real name and not the one my mum gave him, is this really sweet, fat, and playful indoor-outdoor cat. He showed up to my mum's house a few months ago and she gave him some canned food, and he'd been coming back multiple times after that and staying for hours at a time. She wound up putting a collar and a tag on him, and she got a call from a man saying that she can't collar this cat because he's not her cat, it's his and his 4 kids' cat. My mum didn't care. She already decided that Simba just had to be hers. We don't know anything about the people who called other than the man's first name, that he has 4 kids, and that they have a cat. Beyond that, it's impossible to make any judgment calls. My mum kept putting collars and tags on him, and Simba's family kept taking them off. My mum and grandma are trying to find any way they can say the cat is being abused. They say because he's a rough player he must be abused by the kids, that because they feed him dry food he's abused, and the man has called my mum a few times calling her a witch and butthole and stuff. They say because you can hear the kids playing in another room when he's on the phone shouting and cussing out my mum that he must be abusive to the kids and the cat. I don't know about anyone else, but if someone kept trying to steal my cat, I'd probably have some choice words for them too. Plus, the man could be standing in his bedroom or outside with the window open when he makes the phone calls, who's even to know? I've also had cats in the past who'd been abused before I'd gotten them, and in no way does Simba act like an abused cat. He's the sweetest, friendliest cat I've met. He just doesn't like to be picked up and will fuss about it a bit. My mum has put a dog collar with a tag on him and had put a stitch into the collar so he wouldn't be able to slip it off. I tried telling her cat collars are made to break away for a reason, but she didn't care. Before she'd put the stitch into the collar, they found it caught on a big branch, so the poor thing very possibly could have choked to death. He also keeps getting his jaw stuck in the dog collar, since it's made for dog necks and not cat necks, and he could get lockjaw or even break his jaw. My mum was super crazy when it came to Simba this Christmas. On Christmas Eve day, the man called and said he's going to make the cat an indoor cat because he's sick of her trying to collar his cat. He says when Simba disappears his children get super worried, but my mom's convinced the kids don't care since the man has never put up a lost cat poster or anything. My mum was crying all night long about losing Simba and saying, "Oh, woe is me for not being able to ever see the cat I stole from children ever again." My mum tried telling the man that nobody owns cats, cats choose where to go, and he said that his cat is microchipped. My mum wants to call the vet and make them change the microchip information for him. She doesn't think you can steal a cat, but you can steal a dog because in the eyes of the American law dogs are considered property, but cats aren't, and that cats haven't been domesticated as long as dogs have been, so they're still wild animals. A guy in my city had his lawn inflatables stolen in the night, and my mum is hoping he can get them back and that the thief is caught. Yet in the same breath she justifies stealing someone's cat. My mum also already has 2 cats that she doesn't give any attention to just because they're not as cuddly. She just wants to steal a cat without even first loving the 2 she already has. And even if she's dead set on getting a cuddlier cat, she's trying to steal one instead of adopting from the shelter. When I was a kid, we had a very friendly cat who'd wind up going missing for a week or more because other people would pick him up and take him in. My mum always called them saying that's not their cat, and she'd be happy to share him with them if they pay half his vet bills. They always gave the cat back after she said he's already got a family. Any of those people could have told her, "Look lady, you've got 3 kids, so clearly he's being abused. I'm doing him a favor, I give him home-cooked meals over your wet canned food. I'll just call the vet and get his chip info changed. I put a collar and tag on him, I changed his name, he's my cat now." Tough crap. She'd throw a fit over that, and I know she'd cuss him out or even call the police. I just don't know where my mum gets off with her outrageous hypocrisy.